Now, hopefully at this point, a lot of you are thinking, that's going to be me. Next year, baby, here we go, war elephant. It's game time. And that could be very true. Last year, it happened to a couple of people. Some of them are in the audience here today, and I'd like to just highlight them for a moment. You guys might have seen the videos that Brainworks did and put out for us on Facebook, some incredible stories. My good friends over here, I met them at CrossFit, actually, and they came in, and I remember watching them after the show give testimonials. And Chris gave a testimonial that was very interesting. He said something about how he always wanted to start a business, but just never really had the push to do it. And this year, opened Margaret Hunter Cleaning, first company, and I'm pleased to announce that it seems like it's going pretty well so far. You're still in it? Stand up for a moment, guys. Give him a hand. And I'm pretty sure they're cleaning over at Rehab 1 now. Is that right? Yeah, just signed a new client. Just like that, baby. Connections. Another great story from last year, my good friend John over at Rehab 1 had a moment where he realized he could expand this magical environment he was creating in Rehab 1 and touch more people. And just recently, on October 2nd, opened their second clinic after opening their first clinic just 15 months ago in Riverview. And of course, I can't forget my good friend Angela, who after the event, actually during the event, had this moment where she was like, and she won't say it this way, but I know this is what was going through her head. If this kid can do this, then I can do anything. That's exactly what she did. She had something inside of her, wanted to create a space to help people. And she created this amazing event that I had the pleasure of speaking at and met some amazing people at called Work of Heart. So Angela, I don't know where you're at, but I'll give you a round of applause. And so it can be easy to fall in love with this romantic idea of like, I came here, I heard some amazing people speak, I had a breakthrough, and next year I'm going to be crushing it. It's a very romantic idea. I have some bad news to break to you guys. After you have the breakthrough, it doesn't really get easier. I know sometimes people come up to me and they say things to me like, man, I wish I had your confidence. Man, I wish I, just went out and did things that I wanted to do the way that you do them. I make it seem like everything's going really well. And what I guess I'm not open enough about is that I still wake up all the time crippled with the anxiety of feeling like I don't have enough to do stuff like this. 2 days ago, before Master Mindset, I was like, holy shit, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not good enough. 200 people in the room, I'm going to let them down. It happens to all of us. And every time we have a milestone, there's another one in front of us that we need to achieve. And we constantly have to fight that voice in our head, no matter how consistently we meditate and journal, no matter how consistently we exercise, no matter how much momentum we gain. Anybody that's gone to that new space in their life can tell you there were many moments when they probably went right back to where they were before they had the breakthrough. It's funny because I went through a period in my life when I completely forgot, just like Natalie, what I was naturally gifted at. It turns out I've been doing this for a long time. I have like 15 years experience being a speaker, and yet I still let it get into my head when people tell me I'm too young, too inexperienced to do this, to add value. But at that time, nobody could keep me off the stage. Every school Christmas concert, every music recital, I wasn't just going to perform, I had to MC it, I had to be front and center, I had to be the star of the show. Because I just had to share my message. I had to speak. I had to let my voice rain out to the people. I look like a little politician. come back to politics in a moment. But the funny thing is, like most of us, I accumulated some scars over the years. Unfortunately, and those of you that have heard my story will know this in more detail, but to make a long story short, we had some trouble at home. We had some issues with our family, as it happens with a lot of people. My parents went through a pretty rough divorce. There was some abuse that started to happen at home, and it really started to take a toll on the environment that I was growing up in at home. And unfortunately, I reached a low point around 12 years old, where I became so depressed, so lost, that I started having thoughts of taking my own life. And when Natalie talks about creative scars, when I heard her describe what she was going to talk about, it actually awoke something in me that I had forgotten about for a long time. Right around this time, I was grasping for any semblance of meaning, any semblance of significance. I felt invisible. I felt like I didn't matter. And I ran for student council when I was in a state that I really had no business getting up and trying to be a leader at that time. And I was just so desperate for approval that I made a whole bunch of promises during the campaign that I couldn't keep. Promised the sports team new jerseys. I didn't know where the money was going to come from. Turns out I actually would have made a great politician. I mean, and I don't want to say that about all of them, but anyway, I do that. But at the time, I thought, I just need to get elected. I just needed that feeling that I mattered. And when I did get elected, I ended up letting everybody down because I was just such a mess. I couldn't handle the pressure. I couldn't handle the workload. And I ended up stepping down, and I felt so embarrassed, so ashamed. I felt like I could never be a leader, and I think that feeling followed me around for a really long time. And after that, I developed a pattern that I didn't really notice until recently. As I started growing up, things got better. Thankfully, family got a lot better. I got involved in sports. Things got a lot better for me, but I had this idea in my head that because when I was really young, people always told me how special I was, and I was always overachieving, I was always center stage, that I had to achieve that, or I was gonna basically live in regret for my whole life. And I became fixated on this idea that I had to become really rich in order to feel valuable, in order to feel like I achieved something meaningful in life. I started punishing myself. In high school, I had several burnouts. I was going to school. I worked 30 hours a week through most of my high school time. I was playing 4 to 5 sports a year. I would get up in the morning around 7 a.m., and I usually wouldn't get to bed until 10 or 11 o'clock. I wouldn't get home from school or from sports until 5 or 6, or I'd be working until 9 o'clock. It was crazy, and I started burning out. After that, I went to university. Kind of the same pattern. I was never a great student, so I always had to work like twice as hard as everybody else to try and get average marks. And this pattern continued until eventually I got a really great job, which I was very fortunate for, and I worked for Apple, and that's actually what brought me here to Moncton. And after doing that for a little while, I was offered this promotion, and it was time for me to go to Montreal, and that was like basically the golden ticket to have everything that I thought I wanted in life. It was going to be a great salary. I was going to have an opportunity to move up. And in that moment, I came to a crazy realization. A very important lesson for me to learn. I'm so grateful that I learned it at such a young age. The reason I wanted to be successful had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with the people in my life that I loved. I wanted to spend more time with, be there for, and care for. And by going off and taking that promotion, I would have made a direct trade-off. I would have been further away. And it really wouldn't have made me happy. So it was around that time that I met Eve, I got pumped up, and I quit my job. I said, I'm going to become an entrepreneur. And I thought, for sure, I can build and sell a technology company before I turn 30. I'll have millions of dollars, and then everything is going to be great. And that kicked off a pretty crazy roller coaster ride. When I started my first company, the pattern came right back. I would be on my laptop from the moment I woke up. I wouldn't even get out of bed. I would just grab my laptop, I would start working, and I would work for 14, 16, 18 hours a day. Kira, who was living in PEI at the time, would sometimes come to my apartment. I had no food in my fridge, I hadn't eaten. I was working myself to death. I was putting so much pressure on myself to try and achieve this goal so that I could feel meaningful again. And then slowly, as I started to hang out with the people in my life that cared about me, that I looked up to, things started to change. That first company failed, kind of had to readjust. Started journaling, which was cool. I started meditating, started going to yoga, started taking care of myself again. And the funny thing is, I was working less, but I was achieving more. But I still really wasn't getting to where I wanted to go. And my turning point came right before Master Mindset last year. Huge breakthrough. A person that I met through Dan, his name's Joe Gelani, good friend of mine. I met him at an event, and he said, listen, man, I got this friend. His name's Raul, and he does this coaching program, and it's for these multi-millionaire entrepreneurs. And I volunteer at it, and he's always looking for young men to go and help out with the event. I was wondering if you'd be interested in doing that. I was like, hell yeah. I don't care if I have to stand there and hold the water jug. If I can be in that room, I mean, the information that must be being shared would be unbelievable. And to be in proximity to people that were making money like that, I mean, I'd finally figure out how I was going to do it for myself. And so we got on a call with Raul, and before the call, I did some research, and I saw some videos of this guy. His marketing was crazy. In his marketing video, he was taking shots of tequila and flipping desks in his office. I shit you not. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? He's a lunatic. Crazy. But I was like, I mean, he's getting these multi-millionaires together. I mean, he must be doing something right, so whatever, I'll get on the call. And I got on a call with this guy, and after an hour, I listened to him tell me exactly what was wrong with me. It was unbelievable. And I was like, Raul, I want to work with you. I want to help you out. I want to be at the events, and I want to learn from what you're doing. He said, great. I want you to volunteer, but before you volunteer and become a part of the team, you need to go through the experience. I was like, Raul, that's great, but I can't afford to do that. There's nowhere near the funds to make that kind of an investment. He said, don't worry about it. I'll fly you out. Can you be on a plane in 2 weeks? I was like, all right, sounds good. So we booked the seat, I got the time off work, everything fell into place. And then I started being like, you know what, this is kind of weird. This guy Joe, he introduces me to Latin Mafia, fly me out to Connecticut, next thing you know, I'm doing tricks in a cage somewhere in Colombia. I don't know. And I remember telling Dad about it, and he was like trying to be supportive, and he was trying to take me seriously. He's like, yeah, you're a big guy, a big boy now, you can make your own decisions. But I could tell he was kind of like, I don't know about this, man. Just make sure you keep your phone on. But you know what? I went out there, and I got to spend 5 days in a mansion in the Hamptons with a bunch of miserable millionaires. I couldn't believe it. I got to spend time around a bunch of guys that had everything I thought I wanted and needed to be happy. You know what I found out? Their problems didn't go away. They just got bigger. The pressure didn't go away. It just got higher. It wasn't because they had a bunch of money that they now had permission to spend time with their families. They spent less time with their families. They had damaged more relationships. A lot of them were divorced. A lot of them were hooked on drugs. A lot of them were cheating on their wives. I mean, I looked basically into the hourglass and got to see what was going to happen to me if I continued living this way for another 20 or 30 years. And so I spent 5 days crying and screaming and meditating, getting my ass kicked in these ridiculous workouts. And I learned the $1 billion lesson. You guys want to know what it is? It was so simple. It absolutely blew my mind. It's 4 things. 4 things I already knew. 4 things I'd already learned from my mentors. But I just hadn't thought of it this way before. It's called the 4B's. It's so simple, I couldn't believe it. It was the daily practice, the daily focus on 4 very important things that all of these men that had made all this money had forgotten to live in alignment with. And because of that, even if they had everything that they needed to be financially secure, everything else was falling apart, and none of it was worth it, and they were still miserable. And the moment that they started implementing these things, their businesses started booming again, their relationships came back, they were fulfilled, and they were happy. And what I found out was that this isn't something that I needed to wait until I had money to do. It was something that I needed to do so that I could get to do the things in my life that I wanted. Number 1, okay, well, we're gonna go for all 4. Okay. And really, this is it. Take care of your body every single day. Eat well, exercise, take time to rest and relax, relieve stress. Take care of your bonds. Be present and spend quality time connecting with the people in your life that are most important to you. Your being. Connect to your values. Connect to your purpose. The reason that you get up every single day, whether it's through journaling, meditation, religion, whatever your thing is. Your brain. Never stop learning. No matter how much money you make, no matter how much success you attain in life, learn from everyone and everything around you, including your mistakes. You know what the crazy thing is? As simple as this is, there was people in that program that had paid tens of thousands of dollars to learn this very simple lesson that still didn't do it after they got home. We called that a drifter. They drifted away from these 4 core habits. Why did they do that? It's because they still weren't giving themselves permission to do these things. Just like I wasn't giving myself permission to do these things until I'd attained something that I thought was going to validate all of these insecurities that I had, all these mistakes that I had made, all these scars that I had accumulated over the years. So what I want to do for you guys is create a space where we can all give ourselves permission. So what I'd like to invite you guys to do is something else that I learned at this crazy 5-day experience called the ritual. And it's a meditation that I do almost every day when I'm not drifting. And I want to invite you guys to do it with me. You guys want to do that? Want to give it a try? Excellent. Now, a quick disclaimer. Legally, I have to do this. If you've recently been through something very traumatic, you may need to step out of the room, or you may just need to not participate, because we might go into some stuff that's kind of emotional. It's all good. This is changing lives. Billionaires do this, so it's fine. It's fine. It's going to be good, guys. So I'll invite you all to stand up, if you'd like. Get comfortable. Relax. Close your eyes, if you want. Just take a deep breath. Breathe deeply into your stomach. And exhale. Relax your face. Relax your shoulders. And think about a moment in your life when you felt joy. Allow yourself to go back to that moment. See the things you saw, the smells, the way the air felt on your skin. Imagine the people that were there with you. And allow yourself to just feel the joy that you felt in that moment. With every inhale, fill your body up with joy. Allow yourself to feel this feeling is always available to you. I'll invite you to think about a moment in your life when you felt pride. When you or somebody you care about did something incredible. Go back to that moment and allow yourself to see, feel a feeling of pride. And with every inhale, bring that feeling of pride into your body. I'll invite you to think about the people in your life that fill you with love. Your friends, your family, the people that make you feel like who you truly are. Picture their faces. What they look like when they smile. What they look like when they laugh. And imagine them looking at you, their eyes filled with love. And with every inhale, fill your body up with that feeling of love. With every exhale, imagine yourself sending that love back to them. Imagine that they can feel you, sending that energy to them right now. Fill your body with love, joy, pride. All of these emotions, all of these memories that are always available to you. Keep your eyes closed and just focus on your breath. The next phase of the ritual is to face our darkness. I'd like to invite you to think about the things that you're afraid of. The fear of failure. The fear of regret. The fear of not being enough. The fear of letting people down. The fear of letting yourself down. Of losing your wealth. Losing your health. Losing the people that are closest to you. I want you to think about all the moments in your life when you've been hurt. And the moments when you've let your own insecurities hurt the people that are closest to you. All the guilt and the shame and the mistakes and the ideas of the things that might happen that hold you back from showing up the way you truly want to show up every single day. All the shit that you wake up, carry with you, it sits on your shoulders and holds you back. Allow it to come up. It can't hurt you anymore. It doesn't have to follow you anymore. No matter where you've been, no matter what you've been through, no matter what mistakes you've made, every day you have the choice to let it define you or to leave it behind. Take a deep breath and let it go. Let it go. With every inhale, feel yourself pulling all of that crap out of your body, and with every exhale, let it out. It doesn't have to follow you around anymore. It doesn't have to define you anymore. It doesn't have to impact the way you show up, the people that you love, the purpose you've set for yourself in your life. This is not who you are. It's just a story you've been telling yourself. Let it go. Just breathe. I want you to imagine for a moment the ultimate version of yourself. A version of yourself that is free of guilt and shame and fear. A person that shows up every day full of love, full of pride. Who you might be in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. What does that person look like? How do they hold themselves? How do they show up? What are they capable of? Imagine that person standing in front of you now, looking you in the eyes. Allow them to come closer. Feel their presence. Listen to their voice. With every breath, bring them inside you. That person is you. It's always available. Every day that you wake up and make the decision to show up as your best self, to forgive, to create, and to love, you are that person. On the count of 3, I invite you to open your eyes and give a big hug to the person sitting next to you. 1, 2, 3. Have a seat, guys. It's been an honor to share this space with each and every one of you tonight. If you wake up tomorrow morning and you think that it was a coincidence that you were here, snap the fuck out of it. It's not a coincidence. Okay? I cannot express the level of gratitude I have for every single one of you. Every single one of the people that bought a ticket, that spoke here on stage this evening, that helped me create this space, that sponsored, that gave me a word of advice, that sent me some encouragement. I can never thank you guys enough. I never would have imagined that creating something like this was possible. I never would have imagined that being surrounded by so many unbelievable people is something that could have been done in such a short period of time. And the same is possible for every single one of you in this room. So do me a favor and go out there and crush it.